Thank you. Welcome, Secretary Lew. Let me first start out with asking you, when we were dealing with the Wall Street reform and TARP, we in this committee put forward what we refer to as the hardest hit program, which was to help struggling homeowners stay in their homes. And it amounted to roughly about $4.5 billion. My state of Georgia's share was $39 million. But as a part of the agreement in the legislation that we passed, we put a sunset date that said if the states do not use whatever the balance the state does not use by the end of 2016, it returns to the Treasury Department. So my question is, how are we doing? Do you have a system in place in the Treasury Department where you are gauging these states? The need is tremendously great, as you know, and continues to be. We now have only, according to the legislation, about 21 months before the end of 2016 when the balance of the money they're not used comes back to you. Do you have a report on how these states are progressing? From our indication, certainly in a hard-hit state like Georgia, none of that money should be coming back. Much of it goes to help struggling homeowners to be able to pay for their mortgage up to 24 months. It's desperately needed, and desperately needed for our veterans, who many are facing mortgage problems. How are we doing on that, and do you have any system in place to gauge how these states are doing it to make sure that they are leaving that money in their states to help the American people?
Congressman, we do very much want each of the states to use their hardest hit fund allocations for the purposes that it was designed. We've tried to be flexible in working with states to make sure that the funds can be used not just for some of the more obvious purposes, but for things like in Michigan, the destruction of housing that's a blight on the community. I'd have to go back and check on what the state-by-state numbers are.
Well, let me ask you to do this. My time is short.
But we are working to make sure the money gets properly.
If you could you? I'm sure other members on the committee would like to know how their states are, but I am particularly concerned.
I'd be happy to get back to you.
Particularly to know what is the balance left in the state of Georgia of that $39 million, so we might be able to light an additional fire under to make sure that that money stays in Georgia. Now, let me ask you about ISIS, if I may. What steps has the Treasury Department taken to engage with our allies abroad in disrupting ISIS's terrorist funding? And particularly, to what extent are countries across Europe and in the Middle East coming together behind a common strategy to disrupt ISIS financing?
Congressman, we have worked very closely with our allies in Europe and in the region to do everything we can to stop the flow of funds to support ISIS. I think that
specifically, what could you give us an idea?
Well, there are different countries that have different degrees of visibility into where money is flowing. So we have had, on a bilateral basis, conversations with many countries to make sure that they put their resources to bear to look at questionable entities and individuals. I've had many conversations at a very senior level in governments in the region to get the commitment to put those resources into it. I think the reality of ISIS funding is that it's not principally coming from money flowing outside of the country in. The way ISIS has been funded, in part, has been to conquer territory and to take the bank vaults and to take the money in the bank vaults. It has been to pressure people in an area to make payments to support ISIS.
Have we been able to increase our the participation with Turkey, for example, in terms of the oil?
Yeah, We have worked closely with Turkey, brought a lot of pressure to bear for Turkey to be attentive to and effective in controlling the flow of oil. Frankly, our military actions have done quite a lot to disrupt some of that oil flow. Turkey has pledged to be cooperative, but it is a very long border, and there's very informal means of moving contraband across the border. So it's a difficult challenge, but we are very much engaged with them to try and stop it.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Time of the gentleman has expired.